All right, hi everybody. My name is Ashley Sweeney. I know it is dinner time, bedtime, bath time for a lot of you other moms who are getting their little ones ready. So I am going to make this short and sweet and concise and to the point. I really just want to share more about meal planning and meal prepping because in my groups and with my clients and in some polls that I've taken and in questions that I get personally asked, the questions are about meal planning and meal prepping, and that's something that I've got down to a science, I've got down to a system for myself and something I do with my clients that I work with. But it's something that I think a lot of people want some extra help with and some extra tips on. So today or tonight, I just real quickly want to share 5 tips for meal planning and meal prepping that'll help save you time. So let me just get right into them really. First one is stop trying to overcomplicate your meal plan and your meal planning process and your meal prep. Pinterest can be super awesome and it can be very overwhelming and intimidating and make you feel like you are so inferior for not having, perfectly portioned out everything already ahead of time and 10 million containers to take with you. So just know that Pinterest is great for getting inspiration. So is Instagram, great for getting inspiration, but not the end all be all and the only way to meal plan or meal prep. So it's a great way to get ideas, but also if you're spending so much time on there pinning recipes that you know you're never going to make, stop doing it. It's temptation. It's, stuff that we don't need to be eating anyways on Pinterest. So sometimes we just need to stay away from all the temptation on there. And so just to stop spending so much time on Pinterest and stop trying to overcomplicate your meal plan. That's number 1. Number 2 tip for saving time when you are meal planning is to look through your pantry, your cupboard, your freezer, your fridge. What do you already have that can be made a meal out of? So I want all your meals to be planned around a protein first and then a veggie. So notice that I didn't say carbs, so we're not going to plan on having like a big pasta dish unless you're using a vegetable as your pasta. But look in your freezer, do you have any frozen meat in there? Look in your pantry, do you have canned beans? That can be your source of your protein. Lentils, do you have canned tuna? What do you already have that you can make your meals out of? So that's the second step for saving time is first, ransack what you already have. Make lists of what foods you want to be having and put that on a list. Then you can use those items to plan some of your first meals out of on your weekly meal plan. The third tip for saving time when you're meal planning is to look at your schedule. What do you have coming on this week? So today, honestly, I thought today was Monday, which was why I wanted to do a video on meal planning because I did it last Monday on meal planning and meal prepping. I'm way off. But anyways, so today's Tuesday. So whatever day of the week it is you do that. Hey, thanks for joining in. I'm glad you guys are checking in. Feel free to leave comments below too if you agree or have questions over any of these suggestions, or if you have your own. I love to see what other people do too that work for you for meal planning. So, I'm on tip number 3 for saving time when you're meal planning, and that is looking at your schedule for the coming week. So if you know you have soccer games and practices and long nights or work meetings or family coming in, you don't want to be planning an elaborate meal for those nights. Those nights would be great to have crock pot meal. That would be great to have your leftovers for those nights. That would be great to have some of your old freezer meals that you can pull out the night before to let thaw in your fridge. You can pop in the oven for 45 minutes. Make sure that you are planning ahead of time. I think sometimes people set themselves up for failure by not looking at their schedule ahead of time and realizing that they're not going to have time to make a whole meal when they don't even have the time for it. Or they're not even going to be having time to sit down and eat a meal. So you need something that you can grab and go. So just looking at your schedule ahead of time is really important. Okay, tip number 4 for saving time with your meal prep is double or triple recipes all at the same time. So if you have, let's see, some things that are great for that I like to do this with are things like turkey meatballs, casseroles, kind of drawing a blank. What else do we do these with? Tuna patties, I make like 3 times as much as I need that night. Some of my other stuff like granola, when I make a big batch of granola, I like triple the recipe so I have a lot of it. That way I'm not in the kitchen making the same thing. especially your staples. If you make your own sauces, you can make a bunch of meat sauce or just tomato sauce. Make that all at one time and freeze it. But by doing this all at once, it's kind of batch cooking and making multiple servings. It's going to save you time. And those aluminum containers that you can get at Walmart or wherever work great for freezing. So just grab a bunch of those with the lids, label them, and especially label them with how you need to cook them, especially if there might be your husband or somebody who's going to cook those recipes, you know, the freezer recipe, put it in the oven. They need to have a little more instruction. So start with doing that. For number 4 is to double and triple recipes that are your favorites or that you know are good hits around your house that you can stash in the freezer, or even that you can portion out in individual servings. So we've done this when we made a ton of chicken on the grill. We wrap single servings of chicken in plastic wrap and then in Ziploc baggies, and then individually put it into the fridge or the freezer. And it's saved for individual portions of chicken for the next week or 2 weeks later when I know that I'm not going to be on the grill, or you know, I'm not going to be cooking a lot of that. So just think of that ahead of time, and this has to go on your meal plan. This has to go in your schedule when you're looking at it for the week, what you're going to go by. Okay, last tip. I told you I was trying to keep this short. What are we at? Like 6 minutes. So last tip is, how can you use similar ingredients for 2 or 3 of your meals all at once that you can prep and chop up and dice and prepare at the same time? So an example would be if you're making, let's say one night you have crock pot chicken like salsa, or maybe some crock pot fajitas. You cook extra chicken in that, and then while you're making those, while you're making the what did I just say, fajitas for example, chop up extra green peppers and red peppers and onions, put those in Ziploc, you know, baggies in the fridge, and then tomorrow night or the next night you can use those in a stir fry. You could use those in like a burrito bowl. You could use those in, you know, so many different options. Same thing if you're going to chop up onions for a few meals that in the next few days, do that all at once. Peppers we like to do. Like I said, chicken too. I'll do a big thing of chicken in the crock pot that I can use. We'll just have maybe the shredded chicken the first night, or we'll have the chicken fajitas the first night. The second night, the extra chicken will be shredded into fajita, like burrito bowls. And the third night, those might be put into enchiladas, or you could freeze those enchiladas and just make a meal that way. So I kind of gave you a lot of examples, but I'm just trying to share with you, you know, how you can use multiple things all at the same time to save you time in the beginning week, or save you time at prep, so that on those busy nights you have a lot less work to do. So again, I went through this kind of quickly. I had 5 tips for saving time when you're meal planning, and I'd love to have you guys leave some comments below. You can go to ashleysweeneyrd.com/meal prep, and I have 5 tips for of my most commonly asked questions, as well as a PDF download of a template you can use for your own meal planning and a sample menu for dinners for a week, and also some of my favorite recipes. So ashleysweeneyrd.com/meal prep. Check that out, and then if you guys have any questions, I'd love to see what you guys have below. And thanks for checking in. Hopefully I kept this short and sweet. You guys can get back to your nights and have a good evening. Bye.